Hi, it's Brian from True Power Video. I'm here with a very special guest. I'm so excited. It's Don Croft all the way from the West Coast. Actually, not the West Coast, from Arizona. And Don is giving a special talk tonight at Arnold's Way. So he arrived here at Arnold's home a little bit early and we're just chatting. And I have a number of questions to talk to Don about, especially about Zappers. But before we get into Zappers, I thought it would be pretty cool if you were to just kind of give a synopsis of your life story. Kind of what, and from there we'll talk about what led you to the health arena.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm a late bloomer. I really didn't get started until I was about, and this stuff until I was about 45. And I was a sign painter before that. I still do that once in a while. But I got sick from chemtrails in 1995 in Southern California, where it was still in the experimental stage. And I stayed sick, coughing every day, constantly, until 5 months later, and somebody gave me a zapper. Mm-hmm. He said, "This will get rid of your parasites." And I said, "Well, I don't have any parasites." Right? So I wore the zapper, and the next day I felt like a huge veil had lifted. It felt like I felt like a balloon going up in the atmosphere. I was just extremely happy and calm, and it turned out I'd been depressed all my life, and I always assumed it was from brain parasites, which is quite common, I think.
Okay.
And my cough went away that day, and I had tons of energy, and I haven't been sick since then. 1996, April 1996.
Wow.
And I was so excited, I started twisting everybody's arm who was sick to try the zapper. Complete strangers, mostly. That's not characteristic of me. I'm not a beta personality, you know. Mm-hmm. Still am. And but boy, I was obnoxious and getting people to use the zapper, and they all got well. So, and then a friend of mine who was in the healing trade, she introduced me to about 40 of her customers, clients, who had various illnesses, serious illnesses. I made zappers for all of them. They all got well. It was cancer, lupus, heart disease, all the worst stuff. High blood pressure. And this is just a simple zapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is 1996. I didn't start adding the subtle energy components until later on.
I was curious what you made first. Was it the Terminator Zapper or is it the basic?
Oh no, the basic zapper.
Okay, yeah, that was the first time. And when did that come out?
1996.
It was
what
96.
I bought. It was
all
a basic zapper, but you had to hold 2 pipes. And I got hold of Clark's book, and I followed the directions, and I built this zapper. But I soldered everything. I made it very small, and I started selling those. Okay. And but I noticed that people didn't want to hold the pipes in their hands. And they wouldn't do it unless they were suffering in the moment. If they didn't have a complaint in the moment, they weren't likely to use it at all.
I see.
So they wouldn't completely recover once I was riding them. And that's not really cost effective.
Sure.
So a year later, I put the electrodes on the box. I glued them on the box.
Okay. And
told them to just wear it in your sock or in a bra strap, and that was much better. People wore it all the time. They got well sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does it generally take for people to see improvement?
Usually the first day, like I did.
Yeah.
If they have health problems, usually the first day.
And what are some of the health problems people have responded to you about their claims that these health problems went away?
Well, the whole range. Cancer, AIDS, heart disease, high blood pressure, let's see, all kinds of infections. Every kind of infection, spider bites, snake bites. I was bitten by a rattlesnake.
I saw the HIV part on your website, and I was really floored by that. And you had an initiative where you're helping get these distributed in Africa. Were you talking about that?
Well, Caroline went to Africa. She went there first in 2001.
Okay.
Because a charitable foundation, the head of that, kind of snuck her in there with a bunch of medical students and told her, "Don't talk about it with anybody except the Africans." And so she showed up in Kenya, and they wanted everybody to take a prophylactic for malaria. So everybody took it but her. She wore a zapper. Everybody got malaria except Carol.
Wow.
She never got sick there. And there was a village of 3,000 people in Kenya, and a lot of AIDS, probably several hundred orphans living in the jungle.
Okay.
You know, they would just swarm her every morning, you know. They just come out begging. But, you know, they were happy. I mean, they were high-spirited.
Yeah.
Over here, people get down and out like that and suicidal. Not in Africa. You don't see that in Africa.
Much different.
Yeah, so she was curing AIDS left and right. And you wanted to talk about Carol today, right?
Oh, we'll get to that part.
No, I'll tell you this one thing. She's psychic. She talks to dead people. And she didn't want to let on until the last day she was in the village. She said, oh, by the way, your father wants me to tell you blah, blah, blah to her host.
Okay.
And so within like 20 minutes, there was a whole line of people at the door wanting to talk to their dead relatives.
Wow.
And all the dead relatives are on the other side trying to talk to these people, you know? That's so funny.
That's a great story. So I was curious when the Terminator Zapper came in, and we discussed what some of the healing components are inside it, and how that makes it much different from the basic Zapper.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Because we don't want to keep anything secret, except for the stones that are inside the organite block.
I understand.
In our Zapper.
That part's proprietary.
That's the only proprietary part. The rest of it you can clearly see. Well, I was concerned because basic Zappers weren't consistently curing genital herpes, especially in men. The cure rate in women was much higher for some reason. And by then I figured out, well, if the ones that wear it on their sacrum or close to it for a whole month, you know, consistently, they're more likely to get well.
I see.
So I thought, well, somebody suggested I put a crystal in the Zapper. So I did that. I put a simple crystal, I wrapped it in the wire that goes to the positive lead. It's not part of the circuit. The cure rate for everything took a jump.
Wow.
And people who are hypersensitive to energy, hypersensitive, that's a sickness, you know, it's a weakness. They were more comfortable with that one that had the crystal in it.
Okay.
And I was playing around with crystals and argon accumulators at the time, you know. I had been for a year or so. And the next thing I discovered was organite, but indirectly from Carl Welts, who was the first one, as far as I know, to market it. And he was selling little pieces for 500 bucks. You got the Tower Buster? This is a little segue. This is called an organite Tower Buster. All it is metal and resin. You can see the metal fills the resin component. There's a small crystal in there. This is from Spain. This is from my friend Francisco at orgonita.eu. They call it Tubatore, Tower Buster. And so Carl Wells was selling this for 500 bucks. 500 bucks.
Wow.
He wasn't telling anybody what it was, but it does increase your psychic ability. It makes radionics devices work a lot better. It clarifies the energy. Does a whole lot. And so he knew that.
Okay.
Wells is a very competent man, very skilled inventor, very inspired. So I thought, well, maybe this is better than an orgone accumulator, because I knew what those were, and I had a lot of them. I slept in one. It felt great, you know. So my daughter was with me, Nora, who I visited in New York. She was 13 at the time. She could see energy. And so I made a piece of this. I asked her to look at it, and it was bright blue energy, just gobs of this energy coming out. Orgone accumulators didn't have that much energy. So I put a crystal in it, and I asked her to tell me what the energy was doing. So I would just hold it in my hand, I would think of where this energy would go, and she would see a blue beam going to wherever I directed it. Very powerful, very powerful. More than you could do with a crystal. So I put some of this in the Zappers, and the cure rate for everything went up, especially genital herpes.
Okay.
And I sent a bunch to a healer in Romania, Zappers, that had some of this in there in a crystal. And he was curing things like radiation sickness with it.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a guy on his deathbed with radiation poisoning. He had been on a cleanup crew at Chernobyl.
Uh-huh.
He was on his deathbed, radiation poisoning and cancer.
Okay.
Cured the cancer, cured his radiation poisoning. He walked out of there like a week.
Wow, that's remarkable.
So this apparently transmutes bad radioactive energy,
Okay.
which Wilhelm Reich called deadly orgone radiation. And I like to call it ether, subtle energy.
Mm-hmm.
Reich called it orgone. Somebody else calls it prana, chi, a lot of different proprietary names.
Okay.
But I like to call it ether.
Ether.
That's what Tesla called it.
Yeah. And then I understand in later years you started introducing an even more powerful zapper, the T-Rex.
Yeah.
And that's a special one you can't order unless you've used a Terminator.
Oh yeah, but before I get to that, in the Terminator I've got, a mentor of mine told me, suggested, well, if you put a red and a purple crystal in there, it's going to cover all the chakras. Right, so I put a red crystal. He said, you could even just paint them. And then Carol said, well, why not use a garnet and a amethyst? And that was much better. So I did that, and a Mobius coil and a magnet. And these are all important elements. Every time I added one of those things, the cure rate for genital herpes increased. So by the time I got the Terminator configuration, it was essentially 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, for men and women.
How long have you sold the Terminator?
Oh, since 2000.
Okay. I understand it was a Terminator 2. And
Oh, yeah, we called it Terminator 2 because, at the beginning, because, yeah, I like to joke, you know. I promise not to kill anyone from the movie,
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, yeah.
I promise not to kill anyone.
Oh, I see.
That's all it was. That's all.
That's all. Okay. So it's the same unit then.
That's a hoot. So all the distributors, I call it Terminator on my site, but they all call it Terminator 2 because they don't want, the other distributors are calling it that, and they don't want to be left behind, you know.
I was curious. I was looking up. I couldn't find the answer to that. I saw different names.
I got an old label at home that I did up. I promise not to kill anyone.
It's pretty good. So how about the T-Rex down there?
Well,
How did that come about?
7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. Carol got it in her head to make an element, energy element for the zapper, for the orgonite, bit of orgonite in there. It's a black orgonite, and it's a caduceus coil. She makes my hand, and she taught me to make it, and I can make it too, but she does it with 17 gemstones that relate one pair for each chakra.
Okay.
And then I won't say what they are, but the one at the top is kind of ties it all together, the big one. And boy, oh boy, it was curing things that the Terminator wasn't curing, but it was making emotionally unstable people feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So you're like control freaks, you know, like pathological control freaks and unbalanced people. And we were fortunate to see it. We were testing it where we were selling zappers. We got to test it before we marketed it. And you can tell when somebody's unstable by looking at them. You know?
Yeah.
Every time one of them would put it on, they would just freak out.
Wow.
Not violently, but just immediately just give it back to us.
Yeah.
So I put a little caveat on the site to discourage that.
Sure.
And once in a while, when I'm still buys one, and by God, they demand a refund within a week. Never fails.
Okay.
Never fails.
And you have a colorful, very interesting harmonic protector. I have one too.
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah, thanks for asking.
And this is Carol's handiwork.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, my brilliant wife.
We talk about what this does and some of the other wonderful pieces Carol makes. So.
Well, in late 2001, the death towers proliferated all over the world, and by their millions and millions of these death towers that somehow came to be called cell towers. They don't have much at all to do with cell phones as far as we can tell. But they are weapons, and they do make whole neighborhoods of people sick and depressed and crazy.
I've heard you talk about this in previous interviews.
Okay, sure, yeah. Well, that's why we made that ultimately. But Carol was concerned because she couldn't go out anywhere on these towers without having a bad headache. You know? Because people who are psychic or especially sensitive to this sort of weaponry. And that's one reason I'm glad that I'm not psychic.
Okay.
And so she tried every protective pendant on the market. She bought them all. And
You mean the EMF pendant?
yeah,
right?
EMF
Electromagnetic.
protection pendants.
Okay.
I won't name any, but none of it worked.
Uh-huh.
I will say that the only one that came close to working was the E-crystal.
E-crystal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still being sold.
I haven't seen that.
So there's something about that when somebody really achieved something.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't good enough, and so she made this up. It's organite. I have a little coil. You can see it on her site. And the coil was the design was given to her by her mentor, a close friend. The solstice 2001 near San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We were there to put some organite by Bohemian Grove. We wanted to stop the slaughter there, killings,
Okay.
the human sacrifices. So that was our first trip there, and that's why we were there. But so Linda said, hey, why don't you see what that coil will do, so you may want to put it in organite. And then the next day it showed up as a crop circle at Stonehenge.
Wow.
Right beside Stonehenge.
Okay.
Huge, huge crop circle. So it's a beautiful coil. And
There's a good story about the dolphins.
oh yeah, well, this symbol here is traditional protection symbol from Ireland called Nealena. Nealena is a entity of protected travelers. Her symbol is the 3 dolphins. And dolphins love organite. They love it. They crave it. Dolphins and whales.
Wow.
Yeah. We had confirmation of this over and over and over again. And anytime somebody distributes organite, just this, in the sea where dolphins are being killed,
Okay.
that stops right now. It doesn't happen after that.
Wow, so interesting.
So, yeah, many of us have gone around and done that. The Africans have done it on the coast of Kenya and Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's hordes of dolphins all over now.
Oh.
They were endangered. They're everywhere now. Yeah.
Don Croft, I want to thank you very
Okay,
much.
my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Thank you for a wonderful interview.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Stay tuned for more. Thank you.